Hey guys, so welcome to Suitcase Divas podcast. This is episode 41. My name is Denise Diabaldi with Redbirds Travel.
And I'm Cheryl Garcia with ABCD Adventures.
Yeah, so guys, we are talking about weathering the storm when vacations go bad. So I think obviously we've all been talking about Hurricane Beryl this week.
The hot
And
topic right now, yeah.
yeah, it is, and unfortunately, it is headed towards Jamaica right now. Like it's already unfortunately killed 7 people. It's a category 5 storm, very early in the season, and it is now I think it's category 4 going into today, but still, our thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody in Jamaica. It cannot be. I can't imagine knowing that a storm is coming directly for you. Fortunately, I don't have any clients in Jamaica right now. Do you, Cheryl?
I do not know.
Okay,
But
so
this has been a hot topic, not only, on our socials, but within our travel agent group chats, because we do have coworkers that have
clients
clients
in
in the
Jamaica.
area
Yeah,
or leaving. They're supposed to
I
be
have clients
leaving.
leaving out of Miami today to go on a cruise to the Caribbean. So, I mean, everything seems okay. I've checked on everything. Everything's still on point. So yeah,
We
but
thought it'd be a good idea to have a discussion about what to do if when you're on vacation, the weather goes bad, whether it's before you leave or while you're there. Some of the things we've seen quite a few questions pop up on how people would handle it on social. And I've been following some people that are currently in Jamaica and what they're doing at the moment to navigate that. So we thought it'd be a great topic to share with you guys some of our own experiences and some of our suggestions that we have, as well as the ones we've gathered from people that have been through similar situations. So that's kind of what we're going to chat about today.
yeah, so right, you go into and the thing is, a vacations are not cheap. You're spending
Right.
thousands of dollars sometimes to go on these all inclusives or on these cruises, and you really are just so hopeful that the weather's gonna play nice and Mother Nature's not gonna be a complete biatch like
Yeah.
she was for us on the MSC cruise. Like that was rough, man. Some of the worst. That is definitely the worst weather I've ever had consistently throughout the whole 7 days on vacation.
Right.
Like we never got a break. We never got any good days. We never got to go do any excursions. It was all just bad.
So we learned a lot about what it takes to navigate some of the trials and tribulations of bad weather while on vacation. So one of the things that we had to learn most was patience. Patience
Yes.
with the staff, patience with the cruise line because they're doing their best, and patience with each other, with our travel partners, because we had planned to be out and about and now we were pretty much
Yeah.
stuck in this area. But for those that are, especially like in Jamaica right now, I've been following some vacationers that are, say, Sandals is the one I've been seeing quite a bit about.
Okay.
They're, stuck there right now because all flights were canceled, I believe, yesterday. They started
Grounded
yesterday,
as
which
of
would have been
yesterday.
Tuesday,
Hmm.
canceling no flights in or out. So whether you were leaving or coming, if you're there, you're there for the
Yeah.
duration of this. Um, the general manager of that location got up and had all the guests kind of outside chatting, and he was basically saying, you're going to lose some of your amenities and some of the resources you came here for, because safety is my number. He was so well spoken. Like, it really made me be like, this is where I want to send people, this is where I want to go, because he was very clear with his intentions, clear with his expectations. I
Yeah.
feel like I would know what to expect.
And I would
um
feel comforted if there was somebody that organized and that
right.
well put together, and because your first instinct is to panic, right? Like if
Yeah.
a hurricane's coming your way, you're thinking, am I going to still be here? Am I going to lose my life or just my belongings, or what we don't know
How
at that
long am I going to be stuck
time.
here? Because some of these people could have been there on a 2, 3 days, and now there's no telling when they will get out. It affects, childcare, jobs. All of this goes into that
Correct.
people are worried about. And for that general manager of that property to stand up there with confidence and say, guys, this is what we are doing. This is what you can expect. This is what you are to do. Was so reassuring that I was like, man, this is now moved to the top of my recommendation
And
list.
what is sandals? Ochi? Which sandals do you
If you
know?
said it, I'd remember it. I'll have to
The
go back and
grill. I'm trying to
check.
think.
It's in Jamaica. It wait. Oh, I
Is
cannot.
it Kingston? Is it in Kingston?
No. Mm-mm. It's
What's
one I had
the?
heard of, but I can't remember. But I will make sure I put it in the
It
notes.
does have. They have so many because
Yeah.
Jamaica's beautiful. I mean, they have so many
And I
good.
went to Jamaica last May, so I can only imagine. And you're right there on the water. So, one of the things we learned and that I'm learning from watching these videos and chatting with people who are either experiencing it as the agents for their clients or as guests there is patience with the staff because they are now their focus from service has been changed to safety.
Right.
They are boarding up, they are breaking down. All the pools have been drained in these area and those resorts because I didn't know this. I thought this was very interesting. They put all the pool furniture in the pool so it keeps it from the weight, I mean, from the winds and things like that.
And blowing being obstacles that are projected on
Yes.
them.
So having patience for those that one live there and after you leave, they still have to manage everything that happens. So their first priority is safety, getting the
Right.
making sure you're taken care of, making sure their home is this is their home. So make sure you have patience for the staff, the crew, all the people that are working towards making this the best that they can, making the best of the situation. And then have patience with your travel partners because you could potentially be stuck in your room or your cabin, depending on where you are, for an extended amount of time that you weren't planning on.
Right. Agree. Is it Montego Bay?
No,
That's
it's
not
not
popular.
Montego Bay.
Damn it.
No. I
I wanted
swear the second you say it, I'm going to remember. And I should have written it down, but because
there's
I'm following that.
Dunn's River, Dunn's Fall. There's
No,
South Coast.
I can't remember. I'll have to pull up and I'll make sure I put it in the show notes.
It
But
just it just is bothering
I
me.
now follow that property on socials because I was so impressed with what they how they were handling it. And there are a few guests that are there that are posting on TikTok right now talking about what they're doing for their prep and they seem calm and reassured, which is like you said, your first instinct is to panic. So while we
True.
talk about patience being your first, like have patience with everybody, give grace, have all of that because it's a lot going on. Let's talk about
Correct.
safety because there's safety that you can actually prep for before you go on a trip that you should automatically prep for. And then there's safety once you're in a location that you can start to navigate in your own, whether it's your cabin or your room that we can work through. So let's talk about safety, Denise.
Yeah, so one of the things we were talking about is obviously if you are going on vacation, whether you think you're going to have bad weather or not, you should obviously inform loved ones that are not on your trip that okay, from this date to this day I'm going to be here, just to kind of give everybody an idea. So if something like this happens, then and they know I'm in Jamaica right now on vacation, they're going to follow up. They're going to check in with me and make sure that, I have everything that I need. Another one that
Well, hold on.
you
I want to say to that part too is it's good
Mhm.
to update someone while you're this when you have the information. Let's say you are like at an all inclusive right now, and you're getting the info. Update someone that's not on your trip that knows because at some point you may lose communication for a bit. So this way they know, hey, this is what we're doing for our safety. This is what the resort's doing. You want to let someone you want to reassure your people back home, but you also want to let them know what's going on so they can say, okay, they're getting ready to get in the heart of it. I can expect to maybe hear something in 48 hours because of whatever. But just making sure you're letting someone know as you learn the info of where you're at, but then giving them a heads up, hey, we might be out of communication for a couple of days. So here's
and
where
that is possible if they lose power, if they lose cell service, then at least the last point in how they were doing at that point.
right.
Um,
Yep.
and as a Girl Scout leader, you're all
Mhm.
about having a first aid
Me
kit,
too.
right?
Yes.
So that is always good. And a lot of people I don't typically bring first aid kits on vacation, but I'm starting to now after we've
Traveling
traveled.
with me, yeah. I
Yeah.
travel with two. I have one that goes in my luggage that's bigger, that has the majority of it. And then I have one that goes in my carry-on or my go bag, depending on where I'm at. That has, it's a smaller version that has the basics. So I always do take a larger first aid kit that goes in my luggage that can leave in the room or in the cabin while we're there. So I we always say take something, because imagine being here for the next couple of days. Now, your first aid kit's not gonna have like what you would have at your home with your
Right.
bandages. It's not
Everything you could possibly
right.
need. Yeah.
But have your basic meds, because if you are stuck there for a bit, you might not have access to allergy meds, stomach meds, regular Tylenol, or anything like that. You want
Yeah.
to make sure you have enough to cover quite a bit of days just in case.
Yeah, and then in this day and age, of course, with all of our electronic devices, you want to have that backup charger and your charger and your cord for your cell phone, for, whatever. I mean, I hate to say speaker, but I'm going to be listening to some music. Calms me
Well,
down.
yeah, because just think about it. And this is planning for not just the big ones like a hurricane, but I've been in a hotel where the power has gone out and the generators didn't back up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we wanted to play our music
Did
because
you bust out your headlamp that you have in
I
your go
did.
bag?
I had flashlights because, I have flashlights, but
Because
for
I
your
know you
port
have a headlamp.
I do. But for your portable charger, it's a good idea to have just, actually I have one right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's
Oh,
just
I thought you were going to bust out a headlamp, Cheryl.
no, I don't have that on my desk, but my
Oh my
portable
God.
charger, this is just a regular one that it looks like a little battery pack, but they also
Yep.
have solar ones. If you are
Yes.
going to be somewhere that you might like, especially if you're camping or on a cruise, anywhere actually, a solar powered one might be a good idea to throw in there for a backup, because say the resort or has lost the electricity for a little bit, you can throw this back outside once, the weather's cleared, and charge it, and now you have at least some source of power for what you need. So that might be a good option as a solar
Yeah, that
powered.
is a good idea. And always have like the baggies, the Ziplocs. One thing I will say is I now typically, if you don't have the water, and they have the waterproof cases and stuff like that, but I'm just saying if you're just keeping it low key, it's always good to have baggies for everything. But
Mhm.
yeah, so
And
that
dry bags are a great thing too, because they fold up. I have them for when like we were canoeing and kayaking a lot. They roll right up into a tiny little, looks like a little portable grocery bag. And
hmm
you can get them in different sizes, but they are made to keep your stuff dry. That's the whole point. You take them like kayaking, canoe. That's what they're for. So maybe throw one or two of those in there. Now, I might actually put that in my emergency go bag where it's just for backup stuff. Like if this is the bag that
that is the one thing that we got on the MSC is those that we did get a couple of those little really they actually have the little drawstring and everything that you
yeah.
wrap up and so we did get those. We have a couple of those. And obviously, if we're thinking that something's going down, we want to make sure that we have our passports, our license, all of our stuff in a secure, waterproof bag, so that if the going gets rough, that you have what you need to abandon. Like if you have to go, if they evacuate you and they end up putting you on a boat or rescue, that type of deal.
That's actually just
Um,
a good thing to do in general, because I was actually staying at a hotel where our hotel didn't have it, but right across, and I watched it from the balcony. They had the fire alarms go off like at 6 o'clock in the morning. They all had to evacuate. So you had parents with kids out there super early in the morning. And that's when I started to make sure when we got in for the night, all of our keys, our things that we could grab and go were right there walking out of the room. So that if it made me think like, okay, what if there is a evacuation for a fire or whatever?
right.
I would normally have to scramble for that. So keeping all that stuff in a go bag that you can just take it and go and it's protected is a
Yeah.
good practice to get into when you're traveling.
Yes. Like for me, that always was my purse. Remember, my go bag was my purse. I
Yes.
do since now have a separate go bag. But a lot of what I need, my purse is huge, and I do have a lot in
Yeah.
there.
And you keep all your stuff. See, you're good about keeping it all in one spot. I Daniel, all my husband always tells me he can tell what I've done all day because I've left a trail. I left something everywhere. So I don't typically put things in one spot, which is why I have to mentally, this bag is for these items. That's why I have to be organized in a certain way because I don't function that way naturally.
Yeah. So, what the last talking point we had here,
This is something I saw while watching the guests that are currently in Jamaica.
okay, so go into
They,
that a little more in
yeah,
detail.
so this was actually in the comments of some of the videos from people from like Puerto Rico who have been through this type of hurricane. They recommend that in the heart of the storm, when it, especially at night, sleeping in your clothes and shoes, because if you have to get up and there's, say something's blown through the window, you have to get up, you don't want to be searching for your shoes. They might not be where you left them. So it's a good idea to, this was a recommendation from those that have been through it. And I wouldn't have,
Sure.
I will sleep in my clothes if it's, I would never have thought to sleep in my shoes. I would have put them by the bed, but they made a good point about like it may not be there depending on
Right.
if the window
If
broke.
there's
Yeah.
mhm.
So I was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea and something that I wouldn't have thought of. So I wanted to pass that along. Read,
Yeah. No, it's good information. You would and normally obviously you would not sleep in your shoes, but if you're in a situation where the weather is sus, you definitely it's not a bad it's
right.
it's better to be safe than sorry or be more prepared, you know what I'm saying? That sort of
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
So even if it's not like necessarily like a hurricane barrel, there's also definitely situations where the weather's just not ideal, right? You're supposed to be going to Disney or whatever, and it's pouring rain all day. So then now we're shifting gears and we're going to be stuck inside. So what are some things that you could potentially pack or have ready for a rainy day where you're literally stuck inside for the whole day?
This is where your rainy day go bag comes in handy. And this was something I did. I didn't even call it
Go
a
bag
rainy
for
day.
everything,
We
guys.
all have a go bag for, I have a bag for everything because if I don't, again, it will be very disorganized. So I have to have specific bags. Um, and it's not always bags. It can be a book bag, it can be a box, a tub, whatever,
We
but
just
I
like to
call them
call
go
them go
bags.
bags because
Yeah.
it's trendy.
Make especially when the kids were younger, we bring a deck of cards, bring board games, puzzles, whatever you like to do. Make sure you have something on hand that can keep you guys busy. I love still to this day, I carry coloring books and I carry the adult coloring books and coloring pencils just so if a situation is like sometimes I actually color on the plane a lot. But this will just give y'all something to do because especially like where they are now, there's no entertainment, there's no activities, there's no excursion. So again, taking it back to be having patience with your travel partners, have some kind of backup plan of okay, if we can't go do things, what can we do here? You won't necessarily have your phones to be playing games there or scrolling, so you need that tangible item to keep you guys busy.
Yeah, and obviously you're gonna want snacks, drinks,
Mhm.
stuff like that if you're just stuck inside. But that's things that you would probably prep just going into the vacation anyway. But if you're at a location and you kind of get stuck there, you would want that in your go bag to have a bottle of water or some kinds of energy bars or some kind of sustenance. If you're there for a few hours, most people want snacks and
I'm
drinks.
imagining, I haven't found this out yet because it was something that when I was following and listening and catching up on this hurricane, they are asking, especially at the sandals that I'm watching, they when they go to their room,
But you
they
don't
have
know
a
the name of
like I know I gotta find it. When they told them you will go to your room and you will stay there until they say all clear kind of thing. I'm imagining they're sending sustenance for them like somehow, but in case they don't, think about it. If you have a crappy day coming the next day, grab stuff from the buffet, grab stuff from the grocery store, wherever you are, just take
get your
something back
bananas
so you have it.
and your oranges.
Yeah, and bottled water. You definitely want to have
Mhm.
some bottled water. So just keeping an eye on it and thinking about what am I going to need tomorrow in case I cannot leave this room. I prep like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's smart. That is smart. Um, so one thing we will say is if you do, if you're booking vacation, obviously because we're travel agents, we would always recommend that you book through a travel agent because in times of when shit goes on, you're kind of panicked and you don't know what to do. And that's when your travel agent will step in and hold your hand and be like,
Mhm.
everything's going to be fine. I'm going to handle like getting your flight changed, or I'm going to handle, getting, hopefully you've booked with travel insurance. So that if it happens before you've left, that, well, this sucks that I'm not going on this cruise or this all inclusive, but I know that I'll get my credit so that I can go on another
Mhm.
week. Those are all good things to know going into it. What is there any other advice that you would give to people that are,
So yeah, for
dealing with this?
dealing with it, or even pre-planning before you go on a trip, thinking about it. Yeah, like Denise said, if you've used a travel agent, they will be navigating that and they're watching it. Not only are they watching it while it's going, but they were watching it before you left. Because like Denise said, she's got a client leaving tomorrow. So she's been watching this weather, watching that cruise line, doing all of that just to try to preempt anything that might pop up and figure out second options. The other thing, if you haven't used a travel agent, that's perfectly fine. You can still do some of this stuff on your own. So this is good advice for just any vacation in general, keeping track of your flights. So even if your home airport is not being affected by the weather, your flight route probably is. So you need to keep an eye on where you're going so you can see the weather between your home port
Yeah.
and your final destination, because that's going to affect you whether you can take off from your home port or not, or your
Yeah. And
home.
that flight crew's not necessarily, they're coming from somewhere before they're getting to you. So
Correct.
if
And
if they're impacted,
your
that's good.
layovers, think about if you have a layover, if you're flying, if you can leave from your home airport, and you get to wherever your layover is, doesn't mean you're going to get to leave from there. Even if, again, they aren't being affected, it's still the flights. There's so much going on up there that it's not just from point A to point B, it's everything in
Right.
between that affects that, because it's a trickle effect. Once one plane is delayed for whatever, that crew is going to another plane. That plane might not be going directly back, might be going somewhere else. So just keep that in mind, keep track of your flights and what's going on in the air in general. Um, if you're cruising, make sure you're following the cruise pages for your specific cruise, because they'll keep you up to date. You're talking with other passengers, they're making plans as well, but also keep checking your emails, because cruise lines, they're on top of this. If they
Yes.
see something potential is going on, they're going to email you, they're going to follow up, they're going to send it in the app, they're going to, whatever your form of communication, they're going to keep up with that. So you need to make sure your
And
emails
they're going to
are
divert.
clear.
Like if you're out in the ocean and something's going down, like our MSC cruise is a perfect example. We
Right.
were supposed to go to that amazing island, and we did not, the waves were just too high and it was not safe. So then we had another day out at sea, which can happen, and it is unfortunate, but it's better to be safe than sorry. They're not going to
Absolutely.
put you
Mhm.
in danger. So and that happened to me 2 years ago on a Carnival cruise. We were down in the Bahamas, and we were supposed to go to their private island, Coco Cay, and we got out there, and that was fine, and we were doing great. But then the storm just rolled in out of nowhere, and everybody. I mean, there was hundreds of people out there. We were all just kind of caught in the storm, and the lightning was coming down, torrential rain. We were hiding at one point. We first started hiding under a hut, like this little cabana hut that you can rent, but everybody else had fled at that point. Then we ended up in like a little church, like a wedding chapel, I'm gonna say. And so, but it was so bad, and the rain was coming down so heavy, it was like pooling up and in on the floorboards and stuff, and it was so crazy. And we finally decided, I did say we may die, like I'm pretty sure we could get struck by lightning, because the lightning was just coming fast and furious, but we had to make it from this little church area to get back to the ship that was taking us back to our ship.
You had a
So
tender at that one, didn't you?
we had a tender, so we had to get back to the boat to get back to the ship.
Right.
But and we're literally standing, there's people, we made a run for it. I mean, we just decided no, it's not going to stop. We can either stand here and be in the pouring rain with lightning all around us, or we can have a
Take your
go at it.
chances. Yeah.
Yeah, take our chances. But literally, when we got back, we are standing in like ankle deep water trying to get through the routing, through everybody weaving through the lines to get back to the tender. And it was gross. I mean, we're standing barefoot at that point in ankle deep water. You don't know what you're standing in and how gross or people peed there. I don't know. Anyway, we made it back, but that was an example of a really unexpected bad weather on a cruise when we were on an island. So have you had situations like that when you're traveling yourself?
Yes. On our spring break cruise, actually, well, obviously the MSC cruise was probably the
Oh,
most when it comes to
that was
cruising.
horrific. Yeah.
Yeah. And that wasn't any part of the MSC, obviously. I think the cruise line handled that and did amazing handling the weather. Absolutely. But it is neither here nor there.
And the
There's
deaths
nothing
on
they can
board.
do. Um, but when we went on our cruise, this was on Carnival for spring break, my daughter's senior year. We had pretty bad weather, and we couldn't go to one of our port, and it got changed. We were supposed to go to one port, couldn't go there, so they went to another. They switched our itinerary quite a bit, and we kind of had to
Yeah.
roll with it. And the
Right.
cruise line again did an amazing job of keeping everybody entertained, coming up with things for them to do, keeping them informed. When people were getting sick, they had things everywhere. So when you're traveling, wherever you're going, if you were like concerned, do some digging on how that either that property or that cruise line or whichever, how they handle situations, and get some reassurance from people that have traveled it. So Reddit and TikTok are like my two favorite places to go to get info.
That's like your Bible.
Firsthand info, like from people that have actually been through it. I like to go through that, but
Right.
it's definitely a good idea to do some research. And then that leads us into knowing your cancellation policies if you for even if you don't buy trip insurance. So if you book for your flight, know what their cancellation policy is due to weather, because weather is very different when it comes to policies, whether they cover it or they don't, or they give you partial. So you need to know that when you book your
Right.
flights. You need to know that when you book your transportation, whether it's like a cruise or to an all inclusive, or you're just renting a cabin somewhere. No matter what it is, you need to know what their cancellation policy is. If
Sure.
weather hits that area, but also if weather hits your home. Like I have had people who were traveling and the place they were going to was absolutely fine, but they couldn't leave their home because of the bad weather. You need to know what
Yes.
that entails also for your cancellations. Which is why we always recommend trip insurance. Trip
Yeah.
insurance, considering what you pay for vacation in general, it's a drop in the
Yeah.
bucket.
And it's really nominal addition. Yeah, and
Correct.
I just had those clients that did the trip out to Yellowstone, and they were flying out of Charlotte into Wyoming, and it was snowing there, like 12 inches of snow. So I had to make sure that I called the rental car place and made sure that they did have all-wheel drive and they had a vehicle capable of driving in the snow.
Hmm.
So just things like that are definitely good to uh, just be prepared. That's what
Right.
my biggest takeaway would be prepared, practice your patience, pack your
Yes.
patience, and then just go with the flow
Absolutely.
and be mindful that you really can't control Mother Nature, unfortunately. And then you just have to keep your best face forward. And if you don't get to go on the trip, just know that you'll get to go on the trip again and hopefully have better weather because you can't
Right.
control that. So, do you have any final takeaways on our when weather goes bad on your vacation?
The number one, I think, is patience. Patience for the staff of wherever you are, because
They're doing the
like
best they can,
Karen,
dude.
they are doing their priority shifts. It's not about making sure you have the most amazing time. It's making sure you are safe. And that is what they should be doing. You want them to be doing that. So don't be calling for room service. Don't be You know,
Yeah, and give
why is
some
the
grace because
movie not going
their family's probably back at home weathering the storm too. So they're
by
probably,
themselves? Because you got to
yeah,
think
they're worried about other things, not just you getting, your all-inclusive
or your
buffet.
dinner reservation got
Yeah,
canceled. Yeah. So
right.
just be patient with the staff that's doing the best for them. And then have
Absolutely.
patience for your travel buddies because you are going to get on each other's nerves. You're going to be, it's a high stress situation. You don't have as much going on. So, and limit your alcohol. Where if there is
That
something
is a
big
good
like
point.
this going on, sometimes your thought is, well, we're just going to have a good old party and let's just
We had
drink
the
through
drink
it.
package on the cruise.
Which we were in one location, but and it
Yeah,
really we were safe. It wasn't like that. But I'm if you're in a situation like hurricane right now going on in Jamaica, limit your alcohol because
right.
you need to be functioning. You need to be able to get up and move if needed. And you need to be
Correct.
kind because not everybody is kind when they're drinking or have the best patience. So
And
just keep that
you
stuff
need
in
to be able
mind.
to help other people that maybe aren't as mobile or functional
Correct.
as you. You want to be on your P's and Q's and have your wits about you so that you can help with animals or with other people that are
Mhm.
not as capable as you. So you want to, in a situation like that, I would definitely refrain from drinking alcohol and not being, alert and aware to be
Right.
moving on or evacuating at that point.
Yeah. But just make the best of it, have patience, and I mean, that's really it. I do
Yeah.
your best and make the best of the situation.
Correct. That's what we would say. The divas would say, practice your patience and be a good friend and be a good travel buddy. And
Yes.
um, yeah, there you have it. So we hope that you don't have to deal with this going on vacation, but we hope that if you do have bad weather, then you will remember some of the things that we talked about today.
Yeah.
But have a good day, guys.
Bye, guys.